Okay, and we're back. And I told you that we were going to come back and do our chart and actually write the essay. So some things before you do your chart is that you've figured out your answer to your question, which is actually your groups, okay? Groups, answer to the question, thesis, they're all the same thing. Please remember that. Another thing to remember is to be specific. You can't use negative or positive, even though that may be your first reaction here. It's not going to work. You have to be specific. Don't use general themes because they don't get you points, okay? Even though lots of teachers and books will tell you use Persia or use spice, what we use. But most of the time they want specific things, okay, that they're looking for. You have at least 3 groups. You never leave a document alone unless you have 3 groups already, and then you can add another thing about the document. Once again, remember your groups are your thesis, okay? Alright, so we set ours up with a chart like this. Groups are on the left side, document numbers are in the middle, and POV AD, we need one POV and one additional document for each group, okay? Our groups are causes and consequences. So check to make sure when you set up your chart that you have causes and consequences over there. Alright, once again, one thing you really need to check is make sure all your documents are there. So you should have at least 3 groups and look to make sure that you have covered all your documents. Sometimes you'll use a document more than once, and so it will count up to the number that you have, but you really need to go back and say, do I have all 1 through 10, okay? Because that's really important. And also, look at your additional documents. Are they something you can justify? One of the reasons we put them with the groups is to connect them to what you're looking for or what you feel is the answer. That helps, but you don't want, some rabbit talking about how it's ruined their ability to eat because of chemicals or something. That's not a justifiable additional document, unfortunately. Okay? Alright, so this is my chart, and notice it would line up a lot better if I wasn't trying to put it on a PowerPoint slide. But also notice I found 4 groups. Now you could put those into 3 and it would be perfectly fine. I just found clearly 4 groups that I wanted to work with. I've got my cause has a little star by it, and then the rest are consequences. And that's really how the DBQ is made, to have more consequences than causes, okay? I have my document numbers that go with that one. And then on the side you can see the ones that I picked for POV. So for the first one, I told you I really like number 3, so I'm using that for POV about the Cold War. And then I asked for an additional document. I asked for a map or graph showing areas of soil degradation to see if there really was a dire need for chemical fertilizer at that time. And then for the next group, which I said this doesn't line up very well, I really like 6, so I'm going to use that one. And you could definitely do more because you have lots of documents here. So if you wanted to do more POVs, you could. And the additional document I said was like a survey of laborers or a graph showing whether salary changed for workers or if something about their standard of living has been improved. So, and then the next group I have 8 that I want to use, and then for additional documents I didn't finish this one on here because I'm running out of space, but I just said to interview people in different castes to see if they felt that conflict between the caste has actually increased or decreased. And then for ecological problems I like doing number 10. And then I said that I would like an agricultural scientist to, comment on the loss of seed diversity, or a chart showing the loss of seed diversity. something like that. Alright, so once we have that set up, and I know it's taken a long time and a lot of thought, now all we have to do is write. We don't have to think as much, okay? So you really want to write fast, but legibly, and you want to, kind of watch your time. You don't want to get too little time for the other two essays. Alright, so remember this is the way we set it up. Thesis at the top. These are just your groups, okay? So don't forget that. And then we have each paragraph is done the same way. I want you to do the documents supporting that group, summarized and analyzed. And if you have a good topic sentence, you don't have to do 2 sentences wise. Or if you can really pick out, like I did, the answers to the questions out of the documents, then you don't need to do 2 sentences, but it always helps to fall back on that, summarizing the document and then saying this belongs in this group because it makes you make sure that you have a solid group that you're talking about in that paragraph, for one thing. A POV for each group and an additional document for each group. Okay, so it's the same for all 3 paragraphs, and then the conclusion. Alright, so this is my thesis. Notice I am not a writer, and that's okay, but I do have an intro paragraph here. The intro paragraph's in white. It does not count for anything, except to, gear me up for the rest of what I'm saying. My thesis really is in the yellow, and it's a couple of sentences because I'm talking about causes and consequences here. But I said the documents show that this revolution was caused by advances in technology and the need for more food. They show the need for more food has been met and that many have been able to raise their standard of living. However, they also show that the Green Revolution has resulted in extreme ecological damage, changes in society, and an increase in conflict. So that's my thesis. Yours might sound different, but what I want you to watch out is that you've used the words causes and consequences and that you've said something pretty specific, but not so specific that you don't have several documents to show for it, okay? Now, this is my body paragraph, and I've noted where my POV is just to make sure that you see that, but you do not have to do that in the essay. In fact, sometimes the readers get kind of annoyed because people will write, document 4 is clearly biased and put POV by it, and there's no POV, so it's kind of annoying. But if it helps you to make sure you have all your POVs, that's fine. Okay. My additional document is at the bottom of the paragraph, as you can see. And I did not do the 2-sentence way to do my documents because I felt like I was using them as evidence for what I said at the very beginning, which is my topic sentence. And notice those are my groups. You see, the reader cannot get groups from your thesis if you have a thesis, and I would hope you would have one. So you need to make sure that you are grouping and clearly stating the groups in the paragraphs. And that's what I do, and that's why it's called a topic sentence, because that's what I'm talking about. That's my topic of the paragraph, okay? Alright, so body paragraph 2, I start off a little bit differently with this one. I use the listing method for explaining my group, but I'm still saying that the Green Revolution has generally raised the standards of living for many. So I'm clearly stating a cause here. Dang it, result, a consequence, okay? Alright, so we have the documents there again, and I'm underlining my documents, so you could put them in paragraphs, you could do them before the sentence, you can do them after the sentence, it doesn't matter. Just make sure your document numbers are in there, that's helpful, unlike sometimes the POV, okay? And let's go to the next one. Alright, so I'm again showing that this is a result of the Green Revolution, and I've got again my POV. As you can tell, I've worked it in there, and then I have my additional document at the end. Unfortunately, I want to ask you if you have any questions, and this is a video and I can't do that. But if you have comments or questions to give me, please do, because I would like to know how effective this is for you, or if it raises other questions that you have, okay? And then this is the last body paragraph for me. Remember, I had 4 groups, so I have to have 4 paragraphs, 4 body paragraphs, okay? But it's really not any longer than making 3 because I'm talking about all the documents anyway, okay? Alright, so a conclusion, I did not write one, but this is where, again, I can kind of show what I know about the topic if I know about it, or I am just really basically restating my answer or re-answering the question. The reader can only look for your thesis in the first paragraph or the last paragraph, which is your conclusion. So that's what your conclusion is for, to make sure that you've clearly stated your thesis, okay? And in most, writing labs, writing teachers will tell you don't just restate your thesis. But in this case, it really doesn't matter that much because we know that this writing is a draft and that you probably could have done it better if you went through and redid your paragraphs, redid your conclusion. That's okay. It doesn't have to be spectacular, all right? It just needs to have the elements that we're talking about. Alright, so hopefully you're getting the idea, and like I said, this is the first time I've done a video, so I'm kind of lost without y'all asking me questions. So please do tell me what you think, what you've learned, and what we can do better with the DBQ. I hope that it turned on a few light bulbs, especially with POV, because I felt like a lot of you still were not attempting POV. So now what I need you to do is really start practicing. Use some old DBQ questions and at least start practicing pre-write and time yourself because it is going to take a long time to do that pre-write and you want to get it down to as quick as possible, okay? And the way to do that is really focus on what the question is asking you to do, okay? And so if you need help, come see me. Thanks.